Wow, Paulo Costa defeats Yoel Romero in a classic fight. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more fighting. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel. I told you guys to use my link in the description to get UFC 241. Some very good fights. Yusuf had a good knockout, and then I was just watching the main card with Paulo Costa versus Yoel Romero. Now, this was a huge step up for a knockout artist. His knockout reign was cut short. Yoel Romero went the distance. It was 29-28. It was a 3-rounder in favor of Paulo Costa. So he moves closer towards a middleweight title shot. And this was a very fun fight. I really enjoyed it. I think this was kind of like the young dog versus the old dog. And it really depends on how you looked at it and how you scored certain thing, because this was a very tactical war. You know, it wasn't like full-on war where people were just necessarily swinging through, crazy with no game plan. It was strategic, but it was enough of a war where it was really engaging and just dope action back and forth. So some of the rounds, I gotta admit, were hard to score, and it was only a 3-rounder. I think if this was a 5-rounder, Yoel Romero, the way the tide was kind of shifting and turning, and the fact that he's a veteran Cuban with more experience, I tweeted this earlier, I think that it definitely would have favored him, because he would have been able to try to, in essence, drown Paulo, who is less experienced in the deeper waters. But this is a good win for Paulo Costa. He's as advertised, even though he didn't get a knockout, you could tell he's strong. I mean, he looked big as fuck. Yoel Romero is always in shape, and Paulo he just looked like Ivan Drago next to Rocky. He looked huge, you know what I'm saying, in shape and all that. So he had a relentless pressure. He was durable, and this was his big step up, and he handled business. Again, he didn't get a knockout, but he didn't wilt under pressure too, which I think is more important than the knockout. If he would have wilted and folded in some of those pivotal moments, then people would be like, see, I told you he was overrated. So very fun fight. I can understand some people having Yoel Romero as the winner, and I can understand people having Paulo Costa as the winner. It was just that type of fight. I gave it slightly to Paulo Costa, and I think I blame Yoel Romero because I kind of understood what he was doing, but I think round 1, he let Paulo Costa get off to a good start and decidedly won round 1, and he was relentless with the pressure, and he let Paulo get this confidence that he should have never had, and it kind of carried on throughout the fight. But as the fight wore on, you seen Yoel Romero started to touch Paulo Costa more, and they said how he has like crazy endurance and all this stuff, but you could tell that Paulo was getting tired. Like at the beginning of the second round, Costa was doing well. He was relentless. One thing I really liked for a power puncher, the body attack, very consistent body attack. He didn't headhunt, which you sometimes see in boxing and the UFC from knockout artists. So I really like that. Yoel didn't go after a takedown in the first round for whatever reason, probably because this dude is huge and big and a big puncher. So you would have to kind of scramble if you aren't successful and stay out of the way of his power. But I understand what Yoel Romero was doing, but in the 3-round fight, I think he had to get off to kind of a quicker start, if you know what I mean. That first round, the ebb and flow was definitely towards Costa, and he let him gain like a false confidence. The beginning of the second round, Paulo Costa kind of kept it up. He was walking him down, come forward pressure, landing some good power shots, while Romero was almost goofing off and playing around drunken monkey style and moving around, very awkward. And I think these things are needed, because this is uncharted territory for the inexperienced guy, but he's dangerous because he's big and he's strong, powerful and stuff like that, and he looked pretty durable. But then as the round 2 ended, you seen Romero was just like touch, bow, touching him high, touching him low, body shot, and you know, he was ripping some uppercuts, and he continued that in round 3. And then Yoel Romero, I think his best round was round 3. But the thing is, Costa had heart, and he didn't waver, and he didn't he was still in the fight, even though you could tell the ebb and flow was kind of shifting towards Yoel Romero. He remained dangerous. Other highlights of the fight, there was a moment where Yoel Romero poked him in the eye, so there's a break. There's a moment where he got kicked. Yoel Romero got kicked by Costa in the groin, so he took the better part of a 5-minute break. So it was a fun fight. I wouldn't mind a rematch, to be honest. You know, good tactical fight. Yoel Romero, I was really impressed just because he's 42, 43 years old, even competing with this big, strong behemoth and, you know, pushing him to the max. So this was a much needed fight on the path of Paulo Costa. I'm definitely going to watch both. I respect both fighters. I've respected, obviously, Yoel Romero for longer because he's been in the limelight and had the bigger fights. But I'm really watching the kid Paulo Costa. I like the canvas. You know, he's not the finished article by any stretch, because, again, if this was a 5-rounder, I would have definitely picked Yoel Romero, based on how the experience started to come into play. And you've seen Costa, he was just so relentless and throwing so much power shots. It was his moment. So he I don't know if he paced himself for a 5-rounder, but in a 3-rounder, I think he broke out the gates sharper, stronger, and confident. And Yoel Romero had to like kind of tame the beast, and maybe because of that confidence, he's seen like, okay, this kid is strong. So it made him like pick his shots. But very crafty performance by Yoel Romero. He's hard to hit. He was a dog, because I think he was taking like risky gambles. You got this dude with dynamite in his gloves and shit, and Yoel Romero, for whatever reason, and this is what I think cost him the fight, he had his back against the cage for most of round 1. If he would have just been using some footwork and moving and, you know, attempt to land some knees and some kicks, kind of kept it at a different distance, then I think he would have frustrated, because that's kind of what happened as he started to open up and pick him and break him down. Pop, pop, touch, touch, tap, touch, hard shot, uppercut, and he started piecing it together more. He started to break Costa down, but he let in my opinion, Costa get off too confident a start, and I think he should have kept more distance instead of kind of having a shootout with him in round 1 and having his back as the smaller person against the cage for so long. If he would have minimized that, then, you know, he probably would have won the fight. And, you know, like I said, some people are going to say that Yoel won it, but nonetheless, it was a good performance by both. It was a coming of age for Costa, and Yoel Romero, like I said, he was taking some major risks. He was backwards against the cage, and he's sticking his tongue out like he Michael Jordan and shit, you know, when Costa was throwing bombs and trying to melt his shit and get him out of there. So very good fight. Fight of the night for me. You know, obviously I haven't seen the main event, but this was the fight of the night out of the ones that I have seen. UFC 241, great performance. Definitely wouldn't mind a rematch. Tactical war. Those are the 2 words that kind of come to mind. Let me know if you guys like what I'm doing here. Cover boxing. You can also subscribe to ESPN Plus below for your future UFC pay-per-views and boxing. If you're new, consider subscribing. Make sure you smash the like button as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego, signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button. And you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.